Warm greetings, everyone. On behalf of W4W Foundation, a think tank instituted as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. The conversation today is part of the Riverscape series, and the session is titled The Brahmaputra and Bharallu, A Tale of Rivers in Guwahati. Before we get into the session, a brief overview of what we do at Wednesdays for Water. Wednesdays for Water is to engage in conversation with water experts, grassroots practitioners, policymakers, and youth to explore the complex intertwined issues associated with water and the possible solutions. It has expanded since then to have more activities such as Friday Waters, which has which has water talkies, water arts, water thesis club, water reading club. Then we also have Monday munching and musing with women for water. These are all online sessions, but we also do on-site activities such as water workshops, water walks and talks, seminars, special courses, and conference panels to organize and continue the water conversation in various possible ways. At W4W, we strongly believe water conversation is the only way towards water conservation. Do visit our website www.w4w.in for more details. This is Mansee Bal Bhargava from the House of W4W, and I'll be the host for the session and moderator. The session today, as we talk about Brahmaputra and Bharallu, the tale of rivers in Guwahati, we have some wonderful speakers lined up for the session. We have Sanjoy Hazarika, we have Dr. Rabindra Mazumder, we have Dr. Rafiqua Ahmed, and we have Arshel Akhter as our discussant. Before we get into the session, we know that we have been doing this Riverscape series for quite some time, where we focus on not only how rivers are treated in the cities, both as the front or inside the river. And today we actually dig into looking at how Guwahati is doing with its rivers and small streams. So I will invite actually one speaker at a time to give their opening remarks, and then we will get into the conversation in a Q&A manner with Arshel taking lead there. First, we will have Sanjoy Hazarika, and before I invite, a deep gratitude that you could take out time, and I will also do the small biographical introduction. Sanjoy Hazarika is an author, journalist, filmmaker, policy analyst, and human rights activist. He is a former reporter for the New York Times. In 2000, he found the Center for Northeast Studies and Policy Research, whose flagship program is the innovative fleet of boat clinics on Brahmaputra Valley, which, with the support of National Health Mission, has reached nearly 3 lakh people every year with health care since 2005. A very elaborated and decorative resume, I must say, but I'm now jumping into his latest book on river traveler, the journeys on the Songpo Brahmaputra from Tibet to the Bay of Bengal, which I have already invited him to do it for us on Friday Waters Book Reading Club, and he has humbly agreed to do that. Sanjoy was awarded the Rotary Peace Award for writing in 2023 and has written extensively in Indian and international media in a career spanning over 4 decades. He has scripted and produced over many documentaries, including on the Brahmaputra River and river dolphins, on governance issues around conflicts and rights. Thank you so much, Sanjoy, and over to you. We would like to hear how Brahmaputra is doing in your region. Over to you.
Thank you, Mansee, and greetings to my fellow panelists and to the viewers here. My remarks will be limited to more general, a general approach to the Brahmaputra, Sangpo Brahmaputra, as I've been privileged to be among the very few which has traveled along its course from Tibet to the Bay of Bengal, and many articles, but also this book that you've just mentioned, and a film, at least 2 films, including a documentary series, have been the result of those travels over 30 years. The Brahmaputra, as we know, has a journey of some 3,000 kilometers from its origins in the Chamayungdung Glacier and neighboring glaciers of Tibet, across the vast plateau of Tibet into the Sangpo gorges or the Namcha Barwa Gorge, down through Arunachal and Assam into Bengal and in West Bangladesh and the Bay of Bengal. And I'm interested that one of the focus of this discussion is the riverfront in Guwahati, but that's a very small picture of the whole of a massive entity that carries billions of water, of billions of cubics of water, billions of sediment, tons of sediment, in its long and winding course to the sea. And the river has a front all along. What we are talking about is a human intervention, which here and in many other places, which is usually just a copycat of what other countries have attempted, whether it's in the West or other parts of India or Asia. And it doesn't work well for many places, because you end up by destroying what nature has created, what the river created, you're replacing with a human intervention. So that's not a very smart thing to do. Because the river creates a space where there is water, where there is greenery, foliage, shade, and sun. And water, of course. In human interventions, you have sand, cement, brick, and not as many, what do you call it? Are you there?
Yeah, we are all there. I mean, because you are on the spotlight on screen. Please
Okay.
continue. Yeah.
The screen suddenly vanished.
Okay.
So I think that is one of the things that I wanted to mention is that we often think of an intervention like this as a modern intervention, an expression of modernity, but it's not actually. Modernity is living in tune with nature, not enforcing your ideas on it. It's one. And there are people here who've been in government, so they may disagree with me, but that's my view. The second thing is, Paul Sadapek, the famous traveler, he once wrote that rivers are the biographies of landscapes. I think it's important to keep that in mind because if rivers are the biographers or biographies of landscape, then what are we doing to them? Intervening, our interventions that are harming them or helping them? Are we destroying our own history apart from the river's history? And I thought I'd actually like to focus on a couple of things because I'll draw on my book for that. If you focus on Assam, especially, and Guwahati, until a couple of decades ago was a sleepy little town. Sleepy town, if not little, at least sleepy. And now it's unrecognizable. Anybody who comes here cannot recognize it from what they saw maybe 15, 20 years ago, and it is not all for the better, certainly. Of course, you have flyovers, you have many bridges coming up, etc., etc. And it seems to be expanding in every directions, including upwards. And every few days, there's a new mall or a new designer store, a new road that's being inaugurated. And there are customers who are filling some of the malls at least, not the high-end stores, which are individuals on the road, who are coming from across the region. So people obviously have money and are spending. Yet, despite all this, the town, because you cannot separate a riverfront from the city. The city is not a riverfront. The city is people. A riverfront has people only at specific times. So we have a situation when there's not a single sewage treatment plant. Last year, then the government announced that a sewage treatment plant was being started and would be completed in a few years' time. And there are more sewage treatment plants planned for the city. So, my point is this: if you are thinking about something as, quote, modern as a modern riverfront, what are you doing about the sewage that is flowing into the river? To me, that seems to me the very fundamental basic thing that we are not even talking about. Certainly the media doesn't talk about it, the government doesn't talk about it, the NGOs talk about that, and maybe a few scientists, but who is listening? I think that's the other thing. And uh, what are these interventions for? Are they for people just for a few hours to come and look? Or are they to actually educate, improve conditions, and be a larger part of a cityscape, an urban cityscapes that reflects well both on people and the river? I'll close in a couple of minutes because I think we will discuss much more in the question and answer period. But I want to just close with a particular experience on the river, which is in Guwahati, and actually what's called Uttar Guwahati or North Guwahati. There was a flood, and I had gone to actually visit somebody from the IIT, a senior professor there, and he said, I said, I'm going to this point to see the flood situation and talk to the people who are displaced. They were living in very poor conditions in an embankment, the Assamese villagers who had been displaced. And he says, can I come? And he got his video out and so on, because I've never seen a flood. I said, you're a professor at this institution. These are people at the foot, at your feet, almost within your campus, and you haven't gone. So sometimes this is not true of all people or all institutions. Sometimes the darkest part of a lighthouse is at its feet. So I think these are just a few points I wanted to share, and I'll hand it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. You really touched the chord of it. I picked two important lines from here. That rivers are the biography of the landscape. Just today morning, I was discussing about Sea here, whether it is a landscape or a waterscape. And another important point which you raised towards the end, of course, there are some really burning issues about the rivers flowing in Guwahati, as we focus today on Guwahati. But an important point when we look in the urban landscape or urban scape, the othering of the nature is now normalized, which you put it in a very nice story with your first-hand experience. Now let us move to some more interesting conversation flowing. We will now reach out to Dr. Rabindra Mazumder. Before I invite him to speak, a deep gratitude, sir, that you could take out time. Being a senior surgeon and trained at Guwahati Medical College and Assam Medical College. He began his career in 1979 as a medical officer with Jokai India Limited and has served for 26 years, retiring as Chief Medical Officer. Now based in Guwahati, he works as senior consultant and head of surgery at the Marwadi hospitals in Guwahati. He has led the Association of Surgeons of Assam as chairman and presented papers at national and international and state conferences, a past president of Rotary Club of Guwahati South and assistant governor of RI district. He is also a prolific writer with published books in Assamese and English. A committed social organizer and nature lover, he found the Save Bharallu initiative or Abhiyan in 2021 to rejuvenate the Bharallu, the lifeline tributary of Guwahati. And that is why we reached out to him to really share some insights about Bharallu, about Guwahati, about water epidemics, water-related problems, how people get affected by. Thank you so much, Dr. Rabindra, and please unmute yourself, and I would like to hear your opening remarks.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we hear you, but we really get you. We hear you, but we don't get your picture right, which will be a bit Maybe, yes, now it's perfect, sir. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, particularly for including Bharallu along with Brahmaputra. As you know, Bharallu is a urban tributary of Brahmaputra, though we call it a Bharallu river, showing respect to the river. Now, before we go to here, I want to draw a parallel. Uh, late Dr. Rabindra Banerjee, known to most of us here at Assam and India also, he told once one of my friends that if you happen to enter Kaziranga National Park without any weapon or any garden, all you may visit the jungle, visit the park, and come back.
Okay, we don't hear you, we don't see you now. So there is some issue at your end. And I assume it is because he got a phone call. And this is what the challenge is when you join from mobile. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, so we lost you for a few seconds and please continue.
Okay.
But your
He
picture is again on.
that if you happen to enter Kaziranga and you
Sir,
can
your
visit.
picture has, sorry to interrupt, but you have to really be on the right frame because, yes, please continue. And maybe be at the center of the camera. You are tilted on anti-clockwise. Yeah. Can you put yourself at the center of the camera, please? Sorry. Yes, now you may please speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry for the problem and all. So he said that if you happen to enter without any weapon, you can come out of the jungle unhurt because the animal will not hurt you. Usually they do not. But if a animal from the Kaziranga National Park happen to come out of the jungle to the neighboring, say, village or the township, that is the Bukakhat, he cannot return to the national park unhurt. The people will definitely kill him, but now people are a little bit sensitized. They inform the forest department. That is what has happened to Bharallu River. Because river usually originate from the jungles, from mountain, hills, and travel sectors. But unfortunately, Bharallu River has traversed across human habitat, and that is Guwahati city. And it is inhabited by the most learned and wisest people of Northeast. And that is why the fate and condition of Bharallu is such that we had to meet to discuss about dying Bharallu. So the story is about story of a dying river, that is Bharallu, but definitely with a hope. Now let me tell a little bit about the geographical course of the tributary. It is an urban tributary of mighty Brahmaputra, arises from the neighboring Meghalaya. They have got a reserve forest called Myliam. Therefrom, it arises. After some time, it is joined by another stream that is called Longme. Then after some times, it is joined by the another stream that is named as Umtaso. Three of them together form a small rivulet and enters Assam with the name Bahini. That is, this rivulet Bahini enters Assam in the eastern part of the Bokhisto temple situated at Guwahati, southern part of Guwahati. So from there, it comes down across, say, Bokhisto Sariali, then it crosses the NH27, then it crosses Beltola, Krishnanagar, Sauramnagar, ultimately it reaches Rukmini Gaon. There it crosses the Guwahati Shillong Road and takes a course parallel to the road up to, say, Ganeshkuri in front of, say, Assam capital, that is the Secretariat. And there it turns to the north along the Radha Gobindo Borua Road. And when it reaches the Assam State Zoo, the name changes from Bahini to Bharallu. So the length of the Bahini River from origin up to, so from entry into Guwahati up to, say, State Zoo, it is 6.8 3 kilometer or 6.2 kilometer, and from Bharallu, from the statue, it goes northward along the Radha Govinda Borua Road, meets a very famous point in Guwahati, that is called Junali Point or Junali bus stop. There it crosses the Radha Govinda Borua path or the road, then enters Torun Nagar, Nobin Nagar, then Anil Nagar. There it crosses the Rajgarh Road. Now it is named as Kartavya Path, and enters a area called Lasin Nagar. Here again the same river, but now it is Bharallu crossing the GS road from north to south, and it traverses almost parallel to the road called Freedom Fighters Road up to Rihabari and the Arjo Point, and therefrom it enters Adgaon, Bishnupur, and reaches Kumarpara. In Kumarpara, another offshoot split out from this main Bharallu river almost at right angle and traverses across the Ambari Fatasil area, thickly populated area, directly towards south and reaches up to ISBT or Interstate bus terminal there. There it is joined by another river coming from eastern side, and that is none other than Bokhisto. Bokhisto is a confluence of three springs, which is coming around from again this neighboring say Meghalaya mountain hills, and therefrom along the Bokhisto temple it comes down and take the name Bokhisto River, and it crosses yeah, it crosses the road in front of the army hospital, then goes back in. Then there is the Asian Game village is there. Then there it is made by a stream of Bahini River, which I will tell later on. Bahini River, and these two Bahini and Bokhisto combination crosses the NH27 and takes a route along the NH27 up to say ISBT, and there it joins with Mora Bharallu coming from north. They together take a new name, that is Pamohi, and it crosses again the National Highway 27, enters Gorsuk, then Pamohi area, and ultimately drains to the only Ramsar site of Assam that is called Dipor Bill. It is a freshwater lake there. And the main Bharallu, it traverses westwards, takes a turn in front of, say, Goenka Nursing Home, and turns towards north, and ultimately going across or in front of the Pragyudish College, it drains or joins the mighty Brahmaputra. This is the course of the river, and this Mora Bharallu is another very important, but which is not so much attention has been given. So this is the geographical course of the river. So once we know the course of the river, and it has got all the drainage areas, almost the southern part is drained by this Bahini, Bharallu, Mora Bharallu, Bokhisto, and finally the Pamohi river, which is draining into the Dipor Bill. So this is about the geography of the year, and till say early part of 80s, it was a flowing natural river with clean water, rich with flora and fauna. Only after that the deterioration has been started, and ultimately when we started our movement Save Bharallu Abhijan in 2021-26 September, that time most of the citizens of Guwahati has forgot the name of Bharallu river, because everyone, most of them, when we ask the question, have you seen the Bharallu river, they used to give a very blank look. But when we ask about Bharallu Nala or drain, they promptly used to reply, yes, we have seen Bharallu Nala. You cannot go near it. It is so stinking, so filthy. So till the early part of 1980, say it was a flowing natural river rich with flora and fauna, and there are people still in Guwahati who used to reside by the side of Bharallu, who had taken bath, who had swum in the river. Even Dr. Bhupen Hazarika narrated in one of his interview during his school days when he was at Bharallu. He had the experience or habit of taking bath in the Bharallu, angling there, fishing there. There are lots of people, even among our members are there, who has used this river when the river was clean, alive, and it was flowing. But now it is not so. Most of the people have now identify it as a drainage or a long dustbin. But uh, over the last 4 years, because of our consistent and persistent awareness program and all other program, people have now changing their attitude, and they have started talking about Bhoro River. They are discussing, and they are even now convinced that this drain can, or so-called drain, which was a river before or tributary before, can be revived, reclaimed, and it can be used for good of Guwahati, so far as the ecosystem is concerned, so far as the inland water transport is concerned, so far its climate is concerned. So with this, I close my opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Rabindra, for this opening remarks, because you almost also resonate what Sanjoy was saying, that rivers are the biographies of the landscapes or our civilization. And I was so amazed and motivated by the way you were really telling us the flow of the river and where it meets a sister river, where it meets what happens. It was really nice, and one map and your voice just spoke everything about something which is really crying to live. And what was more surprising to hear from you was that it was a living, flowing river until not far ago. That again iterates what Sanjay was talking about. We need to really rethink what is modern. If we are doing this to our rivers, are we really modern, or we are going somewhere we don't know? We can't even call it as backward in a country which is rich in traditional wisdom on water harvesting. Let me just invite our next speaker, Dr. Rafiqua Ahmed, and also now a dear friend and part of Wiki Water Resource Council, leading the Assam chapter there. Dr. Rafiqua Ahmed began her career at Vishwanath College before joining the Assam State Pollution Control Board in 1984, where she served for near over 3 decades and retired as chief scientist. She was an expert member of the State Expert Appraisal Committee and served as nodal officer for the State Climate Change Cell, SDG Cell, and Smart City initiatives. After retirement, she found the Green Chapter Foundation undertaking environmental initiatives, including a statewide survey of single-use plastics across 96 ULBs for the Pollution Control Board and school programs on climate change and waste management. Deeply committed to protecting water bodies, she once defended her regulatory action in the National Green Tribunal, which ruled in her favor even after her retirement. And I must also add here that I had the fortune of walking Bharallu with Rafiqua, Arshel, and the whole Save Bharallu team. Thank you so much, Rafiqua, for taking out time. We would like to hear your opening remarks, and what do you think of what is going on there? Where are the problems? Because you were at the heart of the problem situation analytical organization at Pollution Control Board. Over to you.
Thank you. My regards to all the speakers and discussant. And I just want to say something about the quality of the water, quality of River Bharallu. And since 2015, the Central Pollution Control Board has given the status of the river water quality, and none of this, if throughout the last 10 years, it has not conformed to any of the standards of the river water. So still they are saying that it is a river, with the hope that someday it will come to the river stage. Anyway, I will speak some about the about a drain, particularly, which flows flows along the Zoo Road area up to Junali from the Jurangi Road itself. And meet the Bharallu River at Junali Point. You have seen in my walk the talk, no? That day
Yes,
we
we
have
walked there.
yeah,
Yes.
that from right side there is one drain which comes from the busy godown area in the Nunmati area, and it has a length of about 4 kilometers, and it comes close to dense residential area, commercial area, and railway colonies areas, identifies as one of the most polluted urban drains in this area. Secondly, as the Bharallu needs urgent attention, direct discharge of sewage and grey water makes it impossible to revive its own glory. Dumping of plastic, solid waste, and market waste, no scientific sewage treatment system, high BOD, that is a one parameter that shows the water quality, whether it is a river or something else. That is measured as biological oxygen demand, and it is so high in the drain samples that it cannot be said that it is a river quality, it is maintaining. And the high organic load shows that there are some sewage in the drain water. After river health, Brahmaputra downstream, it affects the river health and downstream of the Brahmaputra after confluencing with the river Brahmaputra at Bharallu. And it is very troubling us that Guwahati supply water, drinking water supply, is collected from the Brahmaputra. And one point is after the Bharallu River confluences with Brahmaputra, that is near Jalukbari. And the other one is Nunmati area. It is up in the upper flow, upper stream of the Brahmaputra. And then after the confluence of the Bharallu River, it goes to Bharallu, and from the Bharallu area, Brahmaputra goes by the flows towards the Kamakhya and other points beyond that. And the Guwahati University water supply is given from that point. And the water supply system, water drawing system was just near our hostel in the Guwahati University. It is on the top of the hillock, and we get the water from there. At that time, water was quite good. Bharallu was good in the 1980s. And now it is deteriorated so much that it is a trouble for us. And every day I go towards the Shraddhanjali Kanan along the Zoo Road in the morning walk, and I have seen the ups and downs of this Bharallu Nala. I'm speaking about the Bharallu Nala, which is only 4 kilometers.
Wow.
It is only 4 kilometers, and that is densely populated area. So we think that if we go by house to house campaigning that we should not throw our garbages here, only water should be allowed to go there, and massive colony, railway colony, they don't have any waste disposal site. Everything goes in behind the colony. There is this nala, 4 kilometers, about 2 kilometers goes to the railway colony, and this they have treated as their personal nala and throws everything there. They don't have any waste disposal system and just throw it beside beside their quarters. So it is very heartening to see this, and we have visited from the source to the Bharallu River, this drain, and slum area also, we have already given some awareness program in the slum areas also. They understand quite good, and we have requested the municipal corporation to give them a dustbin, and they have now don't throw their garbages in the drain itself. But the main problem is the housewell waste disposal in this system, and commercial markets and eateries are there by the side of the drain. Some slum settlements near the drain, railway colony runoff, plastic and solid garbage accumulation, lack of trash interception in the system, these drain systems. Our objective was clean and rejuvenate Bharallu drain, reduce solid waste and plastic pollution, improve water quality, prevents water entering the Brahmaputra, prevent waste entering the Brahmaputra, promoted behavioral change amongst residents, established sustainable waste management practices. These are our initiative. Details of the drain is, I have given some statistics. The length is about 4 kilometers. busy railway go down to the Junali Tiniali. Average depth is about 2 meters and average flow is 1.3 meters per second. Covers residential, commercial and railway areas. 3-stage approach. Our approach will be in the 3 stages: awareness and community engagement, physical cleaning of the drain, and installation of trash barriers for prevention of trash into the drain, and thus to the Bharallu River. We have coordinated with GMC, Guwahati Municipal Corporation. Site mapping and drain assessment is done. Volunteer equipment is to be taken. We have written to the Guwahati University to provide us some volunteers, but partnership with colleges and NSS and CC cadres also. Awareness material preparation, we have already prepared how to go from house to house campaigning, and awareness campaigning will go for 3-4 months. Door-to-door household surveys, how they keep the trash in their own premises, and understanding waste disposal behavior, educating on proper waste segregation, street plays, public awareness drives, engagement with market vendors and shopkeepers, behavioral change communication. Cleaning of the operation, mechanical and manual removal waste will be removed from the drain, and desilting and clearing sludge also. Sludge, there is a sludge layer behind in the bottom of the drain, and which when after the heavy shower, it goes to the Bharallu River, washes to the Bharallu River. Removal of plastic and floating debris by these trash barriers, coordination with GMC for regular cleaning. After that, safe disposal of collected waste that we have managed with the GMC, Guwahati Municipal Corporation. Installation of 3 trash barriers in the 4-kilometer stretch, 1 kilometer in gap between 1 kilometers. Gap in 1 kilometers away from one to another, 3 trash barriers. Maintenance plans, will maintain it, show them that it is 4 to 3 months post installation. I hope that awareness is the key point. We'll go through this, and as we have taken up the school program, that's teaching the students how to segregate their waste and how to respect the rivers and nalas also. There are numerous drains in this area, and about from Jew Road, Jew Tiniali to Junali Point, about 15 small drains from the residential areas joining the main drain. So every household has a role to clean the Brahmaputra, clean this Bharallu drain. Let us see what we can do for this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rafiqa. Thanks to give us an overview, very warm eye overview of what we have been doing. Again, iterating what Sanjoy has been talking about, how modern we have become. Let me just invite Arshel quickly and also invite all of you participants who are present here. And I can see some people are watching us also on YouTube. If you have any questions or comments, you have two options. You can raise your digital hand here. We will invite you later. Arshel will invite you. And you also have the chat box where you can put your questions or comments or suggestions. Before I invite him, thank you so much, Arshel, first of all, for organizing this session, because you were the key person because of whom we could have all these wonderful speakers around, hardcore, grounded people. Arshel Akhter considers himself as an urbanist and a passionate advocate for sustainable urban mobility, road safety, and climate action. As a co-founder and managing director of PURVCA Foundation, I am sorry I cannot pronounce the word. He leads initiative in the research, advocacy, and policy, and PURVCA stands for People for Urban Rejuvenation and Climate Action. It's a nice word, and I'm assuming it's a regional word. PURVCA is a Guwahati-based non-profit organization committed to active mobility, public transportation, road safety, and climate action. It aims to conduct research, advocate for change, take action and measures to measure impact to promote climate resilient, sustainable urban habitats in Northeast India. Through their efforts, they aim to achieve tangible outcomes aligned with sustainable development goals, ensuring clean, safe, inclusive, and healthy urban settlements. Thank you so much, Arshel, and it is good to see one of your professional students. He was also my student in one of the courses on sustainable development goals. Over to you, Arshel. You heard all the three speakers. We will actually like to start from Sanjoy again and get the overall overview and then get into the nuances of it with the detail. And all participants are requested to pose questions and comments. Thank you overall. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mansee ma'am. Firstly, thanks for bringing Wednesdays for Water to Guwahati and to get such a panel of discussions, speakers here. So really privileged to be part of the discussion, as a part of discussion. So I'll just start off with a few points. So I just heard what Sanjoy Hazarika said, Dr. Rabindra sir, Rafiqua ma'am said. So just to give you a brief, we are actually looking at Guwahati not just the city, but as a river basin settlement shaped by the mighty Brahmaputra and network of smaller rivers, wetlands, and hills. Assam is a valley state. Nearly the entire population lives along the Brahmaputra and Barak valleys. Guwahati, the largest city of Northeast, sits at its very delicate and ecological location between the Brahmaputra on the north and forested hills to the south. What if in these already two maps shared shows the catchment bowl. Rain that falls at the southern hills flows down through streams like the Brahmaputra River, Bahini River, and several smaller channels. These meet at Bharallu River, which historically carried clean hill water across the city onto the Brahmaputra. But before reaching the Brahmaputra, this water spreads into a chain of wetlands, most notably Dipor Bill, Ramsar site, along with Silsako, Borsola, and other bills. These wetlands were never obstacles. They were natural sponges, filters, and flood buffers for the city. So historically, Guwahati functioned like this: hills, those are the streams, then Bharallu, Bahini, or Beels, then the Brahmaputra. This was a self-regulating hydrological system. Today, that system is under stress. Urban expansion has built over wetlands, narrow channels, blocked natural drains, and converted living rivers into river sewage carriers. The Bharallu, which once connected hills to rivers through wetlands, is now treated as a drain, as most of the other speakers have said. When we see Guwahati floods, what we are really seeing is a broken river network. This understanding Guwahati through this riverscape lens is essential if we want to talk about restoring the Bharallu, protecting the Dipor Bill and respecting Brahmaputra. Apart from that, I just like to also add on what other members have been doing, like specifically Rafiqua Ahmed's NGO and the Rabindra Mazumder sir's organization. Through our work also, we have realized that apart from education, we look at we call it the 3E approach, or we can the 4E approach. Obviously, one is the education part, which everybody is working on. We also need to work on the engineering part. And then comes the enforcement part. These are 3Es. Fourth, I would suggest, is the evaluation part. Whether these things, because these things keep on changing, right? So having said that, I was pretty impressed. Like what are the books that Sanjoy Hazarika has written about river travelers. So I'd like to come to Sanjay sir first. Sir, your writing often connects the river to questions of rights and marginal communities. Who are the people along the Brahmaputra whose voices are least heard in decisions about the river? This one question I'd like to ask. And also, if you can describe the river as a memory of and storytelling, how important is documentation, literature, and journalism in building society's relationship with the river?
To answer your first question, I think nobody is really consulted. So it's not really inclusive. It's not an inclusive approach. You have basically a number of people who are in government, and Dr. Ahmed has been in government. She may agree or disagree with this, who think that they know everything and they know the answers to everything, whether they're sitting in the Brahmaputra board or in the government as it exists today or in the past. And the conversation with ordinary people about what they need and what they want is minimum. I mean, that is my interaction over 30 years with the government, with people in villages, with people who live elsewhere in other urban settlements along the river. There's virtually no interaction. There will be a few NGOs will be called for discussions, and they will say the same old things. And quite frankly, it gets a bit boring. I've stopped going to those things. But frankly, there is no dialogue with people. It's with the government. I mean, for instance, Arshel, you're doing a lot of work in this field. So is Urmi and other people who are working in the field. Working in the field, because at one level it stops having any meaning if you're working at a policy level. Because if you have a riverfront that is built and the sewage is still flowing raw into the thing, whether it's the pollution board or whatever, it doesn't make any sense. It's a total contradiction. I have sent you, Mansee, I've sent you a video taken yesterday of what Dr. Ahmed was speaking about. I don't live in Guwahati. I went yesterday and today to this park, Shraddhanjali Park, what is it called? Kanan. There people are talking more than walking. That's one. But you have to walk across the road and the place, the whole thing stinks.
Yes.
This is from yesterday, I just took this. It's opposite this park, so-called park. So then the thing that you feel is there are some very fancy restaurants, normal eating places for ordinary people. When I say normal, I mean snacks, tea stalls, and all that. And people are still dumping stuff. I mean, you see everything on the water. It's not. It can't even be called water. The color of that liquid is black. And I don't agree with creating public awareness. I'm sorry. What you need is public punishment. Not punishing people, but certainly punishing the polluter, because you need the enforcement of the law. Awareness is okay. People know. But you need really behavioral change. And behavioral change in this country comes in two ways. One is through engagement and building understanding through education and awareness. But the next stage, if that doesn't work, is implementing the law and punishing the polluter. Whether he's small or big, the big ones pollute more and get away with it. The small one pollutes less, but still gets away with it, and sometimes they get caught. So I think and I think we need to understand one thing, that the river doesn't flow just through Guwahati. It's going on another several hundred kilometers right down past Dhopri into Bangladesh. Whatever your relations are with Bangladesh is a separate thing. But we are the joint custodian, as we are with China and Arunachal Pradesh, of this great river, and we have to protect it from ourselves.
Well put. We have to protect it from ourselves. Arshel, you go ahead. And we have Anuja Mittal also raising hand, but Arshel, you may like to take a call when you want to invite the
I
participant.
don't know if I answered his second question, but I think I tried to
Sure.
weave it into it. Whatever.
Sure. Go ahead.
Right, sir. So one particular thing you have been mentioning about also, which I've been also talking about, is basically the riverfront, which actually has been created in Brahmaputra, and this has been after we have seen the Sabarmati riverfront project in Ahmedabad, which has become a sort of an example for most of the cities to construct on their own. Even the high-level Committee on Urban Planning, the 2022 committee, has also suggested having riverfronts. Wanted to understand from your understanding of the Brahmaputra's nature, what should cities be most cautious about when developing along its banks? Obviously, we have earlier also, ancient times also, we had these banks, riverfronts, ghats, and all those. But then currently, we also have these complicated structures. You may have seen the riverfront at Guwahati, Uzan Bazar side, or maybe if you visited to Ahmedabad, the Sabarmati River. Wanted to know your views on those.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, very briefly, riverfronts are a part of an urban landscape, part of development, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever it is. It's there now. I haven't gone into that, but I walked along that stretch thousands of times because my cousin lives just there. My cousins live there. I stay with them and walk up to the Raj Bhavan and back. It used to be a beautiful walk. You pick up fish on the way, and there were trees. There were lots of trees. I don't know if the new park has many trees because a lot of trees were cut. So, you see, essentially, a riverfront needs to blend what exists with what vision of a better looking, perhaps, riverfront that gives access to more people and not just a privileged few doing. So the riverfront here opens it up to everybody. That's important. It becomes a place where everybody can come together, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. But it needs to also have the shadow of protection, in a way, for the river and for people. So that's basically it. And I think the other thing which I made earlier, and I made it twice or thrice, is that the fundamental challenge before a city, and a growing city, whether it's Guwahati, whether it's Calcutta, whether it's Delhi or whatever, is how do you deal with pollution? Whether it's fecal output, whether it's plastic pollution, whether it's dumping in the rivers, chemicals, industrial pollution, human waste, household waste. If you don't deal with this, you're making something that doesn't really, in a way, it's almost irrelevant to the problem that the city is facing. It's a good thing to get away from places. But, my fellow panelists, you should really ask them to respond because they live here and are long-time residents.
Right, sir. So actually, I actually would like to move to Rabindra sir now. I have a different set of questions, but then again, these are all basically related to what you have been doing. I'll come back to Sanjay sir again. Rabindra sir, Dr.
Yes.
Rabindra, so from your documentation of Bahini and Bharallu from the last 70 years, like many years, through your Save Bharallu Abhiyan, what was the single turning point that killed the river, according to you? Was it sewage? Was it encroachment? Or total governance failure? That's the first question. And the second question is, you have suggested a lot of things as of suggestions to the government. So if the government implements only one of your recommendations tomorrow, which one would create the maximum impact?
No, I am. Thank you, Arshel. I am answering your second question first. Because we put 4 suggestions to the government of Assam. First, we met Honorable CM in May 23. Then he diverted or directed us to meet the then Minister Ashok Sinhalji. We have submitted our suggestion, discussed it, and he has instructed his department to take action, but nothing has been done. Then recently, we met current Minister Jayanta Malla Bora on 6th of June. Submitted same suggestion, the 4 suggestions. Then he has communicated to the Commissioner Secretary took action. I sent a reminder. Nothing is coming out. Now our 4 suggestion is number 1. Actually, the turning point, as you said, turning point is the installation of the useless, I should say useless defunct sluice gate in the rainy season or mid 2004 at Bahini River near the Kali Mandir of Bohisto Sariale. That was the turning point, and it has killed this ever flowing beautiful river or tributary Bharallu. Now, what happened during the season? There was a long spell of rain in eastern side of Guwahati, including say Rukminigaon, Rukminagar, downtown hospital, Beltola. So there is a huge cry. So a high official of government of Assam, along with engineers, they have trekked the Bahini River and reached the Bohisto Sariali and saw that the Bahini is flowing in high speed. So that have presumed that this is the reason of this flooding downstream because of the Bahini flow. Then and there, they have blocked this river with a sluice gate. And not satisfied with the sluice gate, they have filled the river itself, the Bahini, for about 30 to 40 feet. I have to send the photograph and all. So that means their idea is not a drop of single natural water of Bahini should flow downwards. They have diverted the stream to meet the Bohisto River near the workshop opposite the busway oval. So on that day, Bahini River, which was all along till early 80s and even 90s, was flowing with natural water, rich with flora and fauna. That day, there has not been a single natural water flowing across the Bahini. So that we can take as the say date of death of this flowing river. So our number one is you. So that was the reason for stopping the flooding or the artificial flood. But since 2004, there had been every rainy season 3 or 4 times flood downstream, particularly Rukminigaon, Rukminigaon downtown area. So that itself is the reason that Bahini was not at fault. And even Mr. Ashok Singhal admitted in 2004 that this flooding is not because of the local water or Bahini water, but it is because of the Meghalaya water coming through Jorabat and Koinadhara. So they were trying to divert that water. So that why you are stopping or blocking a natural river? What right government of Assam has got to divert river? And from that ecological impact you have been asking, maximum ecological impact has been there because of blocking this river. Once this river or the Bahini flow was blocked, it has become a redundant one and it was only fed by the municipal drain. And you will, as per record of GMC, Guwahati Municipal Court, they 330, more than 330 large and small drain are draining into Bahini and Bharallu. It is their record, not our record. Now you imagine the amount of sewage it is draining every day to this natural river. So this is the one violation of the Indian Water Act 1974. As per that act, you cannot dump or throw any object into a natural water body, whether it is a stagnant body or flowing body. which will deteriorate or which will say damage the quality of water. This has been done since you, and Bharallu, all the contaminated sewage is draining into the Brahmaputra River, which Dr. Rafiqua has mentioned from where the water is collected. And that is the number one point we want, that you remove that useless sluice gate and let the Bahini flow along its own course. Now, there are some people, they are apprehensive about flood downstream. How can there be flood? When that was blocked, the water flow at that area was only 3.5 cubic centimeter per hour. So that is, and if the Bahini River from that Kali Mandir up to say Tongara Khotra or Rukmini Nagar, Rukmini Gap, if they widen the area by say evicting the encroachment, then dredge it, make it say deep, there is no chance that this Bahini water can overflow or cause flooding. There is not at all a chance. So number one, they will have to remove it, let the river flow, and once the river flow, I can give my word
So
within
can you just
1 week, the
shift to
color of
mobile?
Bahini will change. The color of Bahini and the Bharallu will change. Number two, we have asked to fit in vulnerable area where there is throwing or dumping of garbage into the river. But let me tell you one thing, except Moravulu River, directly people don't, hardly people dump this garbage directly nowadays into Bahini and Bharallu. It is the only Moravulu River where people are dumping directly. So that is number two. Number three, we should evict the enforcement, make it wide, make it deep by desilting the Bahini River, Bharallu River, and Moravulu River. And third is to make it pollution free, because Dr. Rafika has been mentioning about drinking water drawn from Brahmaputra, but that is only supplied to 30 to 40% population of Guwahati. What about the 60 to 70% of population? They are arranging their own water supply or own arrangement of water by digging well, digging tube well, digging because of bored well. So they are drawing even I have got two wells. We are drawing only the groundwater, and the groundwater which was there is
Right.
now being
Sir,
contaminated because of, yes,
so yeah. So just to let
yeah.
you know that we
Uh,
have actually passed the 1 hour mark and we have one more speaker.
okay.
If we can just shorten it, because yeah, I
Okay.
do understand the work that is done actually needs much
Yeah,
more
okay.
deeper discussions.
I can just summarizing. So it will have to make pollution free, and to make it pollution free, we have proposed to make canal in the floor of the river so that the sewage can be tapped before it is released into the river. They should be treated in STP, sewage treatment plant, say along the bank course of the river, and after filtering or after treating, that clean water can be reused or released into the river. This is being done in other cities of India. It is not an impossible task, but
Right,
the
sir.
problem is the goodwill and the sincerity on the part of government is missing. The
Right.
Sanjay, I refer to Sanjoy Hazarika one mentioned about the STP, which in 24, when the High Court has asked the government of Assam what you are doing about the depollution of the river, then they cited that they had a plan for setting up of STP, and plan was taken in 2019, but they have started in 24 and will complete in 31. But except that STP installed behind this McDood McDood Cinema Hall and on the Borsala Bill, there has not been any work is evident for STP
Yeah.
the installation. So
Right,
unless
sir.
there is STP, there is filtration or treatment of this polluted water, Guwahati, Bharallu water, Moravulu water cannot be made pollution free. So we
Right, sir.
want sincerity and
Yeah.
goodwill from the government, and the four words. Number one,
Sir, can
say
you, sir, can we, sir, yeah,
yeah,
sir, I think,
yeah.
we will have to, I'm so sorry
Uh,
to cut you like this.
this
So
is
I would like
this
to,
is
yeah, sir,
a
we have
last line.
actually,
The four,
mhm,
four one is to remove that block, let the river flow. evict the encroachment, widen the river, make it deep, then installation of CC camera to apprehend the wrongdoers, and the
Right,
last
sir.
is make it pollution free with STP. And these are not very difficult tasks, where lots of flyover, even tunnel and elevated corridor can be here. This STP installation and
Right, sir. Sir,
making
can you
the
just, yeah,
water
we will
flow,
have to
it is
like,
not a
yes.
impossible task.
Right.
But
Thank you,
they
sir.
need
Thanks a
the
lot, sir.
goodwill.
I'm just so right. I totally
No,
agree. I
no,
totally
no.
understand your passion, the work that we have been deeply involved in last many years. I have been actually part of your some of your campaigns. And I do understand the passion that you bring in the so then just because it's a webinar and we have to respect the like to keep in mind the time limits as well. So I was just thinking of just going
Just
ahead.
one word, Arshel, there is a change of mindset of Guwahati
I
citizen
totally
now.
understand, sir.
They,
Sir, I think
yeah,
we
yeah.
will have to go ahead with Rafiqa,
They
ma'am.
are convinced that Bharallu can be revived and can be utilized for our own benefit for the restoration of the ecosystem of Guwahati. They are now convinced. That is a
Right,
very,
sir.
I should say,
Definitely.
our achievement. We have achieved
Great,
that
sir.
much actually. Yeah.
Yes, that is actually what I was coming into. Thanks a lot for your all the efforts that you're doing in Guwahati. So I'll just come to Rafiqa, ma'am.
I see Rafika is not in the meeting right now, Arshel, so maybe we open the floor for people to
Okay.
put up their points and comments. Thank you so much, Arshel, for taking the conversation with the experts here and people who are really emotionally connected, which is so important, and we need to have voice of Bharallu through us. I saw earlier there was hand raised, but I don't see it now, and also the person probably has left. And Akshay Agarwal, would you like to unmute yourself and open your camera? And Anuja Mittal is also there. So maybe we take Akshay up first because Anuja, I missed you.
Yeah,
Akshay,
kindly keep the question a bit short.
very
Right.
short, and tell us who do you want to ask, or if it is just an open comment.
No,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Lovely being here. I'm Akshay. I run a social organization called Blue Waste Water Solution, and I'm a proud member of Save Bharallu Abhigyan also.
Nice.
So this is actually an open comment. One
Hmm.
focus area what we all need, I really feel, is when we talk about wastewater, we talk about the BOD COD level, and we spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees treating the BOD COD. One chapter which is being very overlooked and we all need to focus on is the disinfection. When we talk about disinfection, the organic matter, the BOD, COD, that is taking care of, that is spoiling the river, that is corroding the river. But the disinfection, that is directly affecting us. The problem like E. coli, the fecal coliform. So now, anywhere the STP is running, you ask anybody that what is the dosage of chlorine required, or how much UV to be treated or ozone to be treated. No one will have this proper answer to that. So I would also like to just raise that, along with saving the rivers, even saving our health in this regards, how can it be an inclusive affair? Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Akshay. You raised a pertinent point, and I would like to just point out here because it is not questioned to anybody. Why don't we actually take up rivers, wetlands, lakes with simple indicator that it should have fishes and it should see birds. Now, for that, whether you need to remove COD or increase BOD, get E. coli or not get E. coli, I think we have to really make policies in this direction because none of the water projects or river or lake projects at this moment in the country actually goes to the very fundamental point that river, lakes, and wetlands are also co-owned by these other species, and let us give it to them because we also own the land. And we actually go to our next person, Anuja Mittal, and also it will be nice to have a very quick background and your point. And it's so good that you have an open point also to everyone because we have ran out of questions. The time
Sure.
for Q&A. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to quickly tell you about myself, I'm Anuja. I'm a PhD researcher based in Tezpur. and I'm actually doing one research chapter using Guwahati as a case study, looking at floodplain lateral connectivity. So I'm looking at the Bharallu and all the other rivers and wetlands and its connectivity with the Brahmaputra. Thank you to all the speakers for their insights. I actually wanted to make a comment and ask Dr. Rafiqa a question, but since she's not here, maybe Ravindra sir could also answer it. I'll keep it brief. Sir talked about the flood sluice gates and please correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I know, the flood sluice gates are primarily flood regulation infrastructure. So they are there at the Khanajan channel and the Bharallu to prevent the backflow of the Brahmaputra into the city when there's extreme high flood events. So as far as I know, they are closed only during high flood events. The rest of the time they're open. Of course, they do restrict the river and the free flow of the channels and increase sedimentation. But for example, at Bharallu, there are pumping stations. So even though there are high flood events and the sluice gate is closed, there are pumps that transfer water across the sluice gate so that there is facilitation of, the water movement. But still, the issue is that sewage and wastewater is not centralized. There's no regulations. And because of rapid urbanization, the amount and concentration of E. coli and all other pharmaceuticals, all other sewage is really damaging the water quality of these channels. So I wanted to ask Dr. Rafiqa, but maybe Rabindra sir, does the GMC in their 5-year or 10-year plans, do you think they have this vision to try to improve connectivity or take into account of how to manage sewage and wastewater, which actually is the heart of all of the problems? Solid, as sir also mentioned, solid waste dumping can be tackled at an individual level, but even the Boragaon dumping ground flow is right by the Pamuhi River, which again pollutes the Deeporville channel and then it goes to the
Yeah.
Khanajan channel.
Yeah.
So these
Anuj,
are massive policy. Yeah. So how does the GMC seem equipped to be able to handle this 5 years or 10 years down the line?
okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
thank
Anuja.
you.
I will have to stop the conversation here because your question is rightly appropriated to ask to GMC people and not to the speakers here because they do not stand here as a representative of GMC. That is most important for me to say. And then I also invite you to present your PhD work in Friday Waters Thesis Club. And because it is a PhD research, you must look for a longer answer and a detailed conversation. At W4W, it is our task to connect people. We have been very proud to connect people. Why don't you reach out to them over a cup of chai or a coffee or some SME's delight and have this conversation at a length about it? Sorry about it, but
No, I
as
know
a
that. Yeah.
PhD scholar, you have to also know to find your right respondent for the right question. You are asking an answer from what GMC thinks, and I think we will find out GMC people. But today I also find more speakers for future sessions. So Anuja, you are highly recommended to join the Friday Waters Thesis Club. And Akshay, if you are interested, anyone who is interested to really tell their water stories, their water concerns, or their appreciation, a lot of people come with concern. I would also like to hear people, how do they appreciate? For me, Deeporville is like a dream come true. If a city has a Deeporville, what makes it cry is something more. We had a session on Deeporville as well. Sorry to cut it like this, but we have to maintain the time. We are really facing difficulty in editing our videos. But before I let you go, a sincere vote of thanks to all our speakers, Sanjoy and Rafiqa. Rafiqa, I see you are back here, and it is really nice to have you here. And Dr. Rabindranath, you spoke your heart. Rafiqa, you spoke your heart. Sanjoy, we are going to have you for a longer session with your book reading session. We're looking forward. And above all, Arshel Akhter for really organizing this session and bringing all of us together. At W4W, we are strongly advocating that conversations are important, that we have to be able to speak, and we need platforms for it. And we should be able to speak for those who cannot go to the courts and who cannot speak, just like the rivers, the fishes, the birds, and many other species which are not having a human engagement. Next week, Wednesdays for Water, we have another series, which is an Asia series on February 11th at 5 p.m. IST. We go for a discussion on water sharing, challenges and solutions on community engagement in Southeast Asia. We have speakers from Myanmar and Thailand. On Monday next week, which is on February 9th, which is our Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, we have two wonderful women talking about their water journey, Professor Ruchi Sri and Silpa Dahake, a senior researcher. Both the information will be on our website and it is also posted in the chat box for your reference. Do keep joining us. We are among the longest water conversation in the world, 400 plus, 450 to be precise, connecting over 700 speakers now. And we are extremely dedicated to this cause that water conversation is the only way towards water conservation. Keep talking about Bharallu, about Brahmaputra, about any other little rivers. You saw Dr. Rabindra had a very interesting story how each sister rivers meet every other sister rivers and then they meet Brahmaputra. Thank you so much all of you for your patiently listening to this session and for all the sessions which have happened in the past. Thanks to W4W team. Please take care of yourself. These conversations will flow. You know, 1 hour is never enough to find solutions, but at least we get connected to look for more solutions which you have been already working upon. Thanks a lot, all of you. Please take care.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to connect, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.